Buffets designed for thousands serving hundreds, casino hosts with no high rollers to comp, and entertainment venues canceling shows because ticket sales couldn't cover basic costs. Vegas wasn't just losing visitors. It was experiencing the fastest tourism collapse of any major destination in recorded history, and the ripple effects were about to destroy everything. This is where 3.2 million annual visitors simply stopped existing. This is where economic studies revealed the true cost of collapse. This is where the city that never sleeps finally closed its eyes. I'm a former casino industry analyst who worked with Las Vegas properties for over a decade. I had access to internal visitor data, occupancy reports, and revenue projections that most people never see. What I'm about to share is based on official Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority data, economic impact studies from UNLV, and direct observations from industry insiders. Some of this information tourism boards desperately want to keep buried, but the numbers don't lie. Here is what is at stake. If you think Vegas just had a bad year or two, you are not facing a temporary downturn. You are facing a fundamental shift in how America travels and spends money. The average Las Vegas visitor used to stay 3.4 nights and spend $827 per trip, but certain economic factors have cut both those numbers by over 30% in key demographics. In 2019, Las Vegas welcomed 42.5 million visitors. By 2023, that number had dropped to 40.8 million. But the real story is in who stopped coming and why. The trend is accelerating, and the ripple effects are destroying entire sectors of the economy. So, here is what we are going to cover. I am going to walk you through 5 specific factors that caused 3.2 million annual visitors to vanish from Las Vegas. I will explain why each factor represents a permanent shift, what tourism officials are not telling you about recovery projections, and what this means for the future of destination tourism. In a moment, I am going to reveal the one demographic group that accounted for 40% of the visitor decline, and why they're never coming back. Point 1. The convention industry implosion. This is the single largest factor in Vegas's visitor decline that tourism boards refuse to acknowledge. According to Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority data, convention attendance dropped from 6.6 million in 2019 to 4.1 million in 2023. That means 2.5 million fewer business travelers per year. Let me show you what this means in real money. A convention visitor spends an average of $1,200 per trip, compared to $600 for leisure visitors. Losing 2.5 million convention attendees equals $3 billion in lost economic impact annually. But here is where the collapse gets even worse. Convention bookings are made 2 to 3 years in advance, meaning the full impact won't be felt until 2025 to 2026. CES 2024 had 115,000 attendees compared to 180,000 in 2019. The ripple effect meant 40% fewer hotel nights, restaurant reservations, and entertainment bookings during what should have been peak season. But right now, I need to tell you about the demographic shift because this one involves a group that represented Vegas's most reliable revenue stream. Point 2. The Millennial spending crisis. This generation was supposed to replace baby boomers as Vegas's primary customer base, but they're spending 60% less per visit. UNLV economic studies show millennials aged 25 to 40 now represent 35% of Vegas visitors, but only 22% of gaming revenue. Their average daily spend is $340 compared to $340 compared to $340 compared to $580 for Gen X visitors. If you have 1,000 millennial visitors versus 1,000 Gen X visitors, you're looking at $240,000 less revenue from the same number of people. Scale that across millions of visitors and you see the problem. But here is where the trap gets even worse. Millennials prefer experiences over gambling. But Vegas built its entire infrastructure around gaming revenue to subsidize everything else. The Cosmopolitan, designed specifically for younger demographics, has struggled with profitability despite high occupancy because visitors spend money on Instagram-worthy experiences but avoid the casino floor. But the next factor involves something that happened during the pandemic that permanently changed how people think about travel. Point 3. The business travel extinction. Remote work didn't just change where people work, it eliminated the need for the corporate travel that kept Vegas profitable during weekdays. According to industry analysis, business travel to Las Vegas dropped 45% from pre-pandemic levels and has plateaued there. That represents 1.2 million fewer annual visitors who typically spent above average. A corporate group booking 200 hotel rooms for a 3-day conference generates $180,000 in total economic impact. When that same meeting happens on Zoom, Vegas gets zero. But here is where the collapse accelerates. Business travelers were the ones who filled hotels Sunday through Thursday, allowing casinos to offer weekend deals to leisure travelers. The Venetian's Sands Expo Center, once booked solid with corporate events, now has 40% vacancy rates during traditional business travel periods, forcing them to slash rates and reduce staff. But what I'm about to reveal next involves a cost crisis that's making Vegas unaffordable for its core customer base. Point 4. The Affordability Apocalypse. Vegas tried to offset declining visitor numbers by raising prices, which accelerated the visitor decline in a vicious cycle. Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority data shows average daily hotel rates increased 67% from 2019 to 2024, while visitor satisfaction scores dropped to historic lows. A family of 4 that could visit Vegas for $800 total in 2019 now faces costs of $1,400 for the same experience. That pricing increase eliminated millions of potential visitors who simply can't afford it. But here is where the math becomes impossible. Higher prices drove away price-sensitive visitors, leaving only high spenders. But there aren't enough high spenders to fill the hotels. Circus, traditionally Vegas's budget option, now charges $150 per night for rooms that were $150 per night for rooms that were $150 per night for rooms that were $35 in 2019. Their occupancy dropped from 85% to 62% as their core demographic was priced out. But the final factor involves a generational shift that represents the biggest threat to Vegas's long-term survival. Point 5. The experience economy exodus. Younger generations are choosing local entertainment, social media experiences, and alternative destinations over traditional Vegas offerings. Tourism research shows 18 to 34-year-olds now prefer spending money on local experiences, food scenes, and Instagram-worthy destinations. Vegas represents old entertainment to digital natives. The money a millennial couple would spend on a Vegas weekend, $1,200, now goes toward 3 local weekend trips, cooking classes, or unique experiences in their home city. But here is where Vegas faces an existential crisis. The city was built on being the ultimate destination for experiences you couldn't get anywhere else. But social media has democratized unique experiences. Nashville, Austin, and Miami have captured much of Vegas's younger demographic by offering authentic local culture, better food scenes, and more Instagram-worthy experiences at lower total costs. Now let me tie all of this together with something tourism officials absolutely do not want you to understand. Every single factor I just described is permanent, not temporary. Convention industry changes, remote work adoption, millennial spending patterns, pricing sensitivity, and entertainment preferences represent structural shifts in American consumer behavior. Las Vegas built its entire economy on being America's playground, and these 5 factors generate over 70% of the city's tourism revenue in normal times. You cannot reverse demographic and technological changes through marketing campaigns. The mathematics of tourism demand do not allow it. But if Las Vegas acknowledges these 5 factors, they can adapt their business model to serve the visitors who are actually coming, instead of chasing the ones who aren't. I left the casino industry because I watched too many properties make decisions based on wishful thinking instead of data. I saw executives ignore convention booking trends, dismiss millennial spending research, and assume remote work was temporary. I watched pricing strategies that drove away loyal customers while chasing mythical high-roller demographics that didn't exist in sufficient numbers. I want to hear from you. Have you noticed changes in your own Vegas visits or decided to stop going entirely? Leave a comment and share your story so other viewers can understand the real impact. And if you want more insider analysis on tourism industry changes, subscribe to this channel. My next video is going to reveal the 3 cities that are capturing Vegas's lost visitors and why. And finally, this information is for education and analysis only. Tourism. Data interpretation should be considered alongside multiple economic factors and expert analysis. The 3.2 million missing visitors are real. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority data is public. Now you know the 5 factors driving the collapse. This isn't about Vegas failing. It's about an entire industry model that worked for decades hitting permanent headwinds. The city that never sleeps is learning that even dreams need to evolve. The question isn't whether Vegas will change, but whether it will change fast enough. Good luck out there.